I am lost in my loneliness. I try to conquer you, and you fight back. You're magnificent and mysterious. I want to be the master of all, but you remind me I'm your guest. You warned me, I didn't listen. Now we are both in distress. Sadly, I realize that power and money are worthless. You were sending me a message. You said help me. I didn't respond. Now your pain is my pain. The air, earth, water, and sky without me are fine. But I want to reconcile.
Our relationship with the world is at stake, and to date, we have taken an anthropocentric approach of humanity first, which effectively has a colonizing impact on the world. While we have massively benefited, non-human ecosystems have shown significant damage. There is a need to think of all the audiences to whom we appeal and our co-participants of the design process, while we still continue to exploit them for our design receivals. Is our community just human? Are we engaging in ethical exchanges with the diverse biotic community of life? There is a necessity for our value systems to position our acts as being central to our interests and the community's interests in the flourishing of collective life, becoming a part of an ecology that establishes transactions with its environment and shapes our relationships within it. How do we engage in desirability structures that are meaningful than just humans? Where do we start? To understand those questions, we look into a few projects to understand the righteous role of humans in this ecological community. Lucy and Bart is a photographic collaboration, generating imagery exploring how the human silhouette may evolve. Their artwork depicts human skin becoming ecological skin. Our body architecture is inspired to continue the ideology of transhumanism, as well as to explore what a human body silhouette could be in the future. As grand as what is a reimagining of the structure of the color tracker mandala, a geometric diagram in which the drawing, the body, the city, the earth, and the universe mirror each other in a grand cosmic architecture. This project inspired us to form our own philosophy with a more tangible approach. Invocation for Hope is an immersive installation by Superflux that illustrates a version of a post-anthropocentric future. It provides an opportunity to reflect our fragile, closely networked relationship with the natural world, imagining strategies that go beyond mere human concerns. Our project works in a similar fashion while offering an interactive experience for our audience. The idea is to reflect the interconnectedness and independence of each organism living on this planet. We not only need institutional efforts on the changing this current status quo, but also individual behavioral changes and new patterns of living. Introducing Nature Kinship, a symbiotic wonder between mortals and the environment. Nature Kinship provides an overview of postmodern thinking in regards to the intertwining relationship between humanity and the spiritual linkage with the environment by combining both living and body architecture, offering a progressive experience of getting close to nature. This itinerant public experiment consists of 2 spaces built out of shipping containers that fit perfectly in the city domain. The outer structure of the first space comprised of 6 containers, stacked together with the other 2 making the second space. The intent of this installation is to entice the young adults and urban crowd that care about their future and way of living, and make them fall in awe with life again. In Biodesign, we typically insert nature into some form of human intent by exploiting natural materials, having humans at the center of it all. Our project has a more symbiotic and sustained approach of using biotechnology to actually engage with the idea of living technologies, something that invokes care because it's alive, something that invokes ethics, a strategy for living better together with a more than human dimension. When firstly walking into the Nature Kinship exhibition, the audience will enter a room called Human Nature, which was constructed as an urban cave that brings about interspecies living alongside the audience, exposing them to the sublime rawness of nature by connecting them with both biotic and abiotic materials. Through this immersive and interactive experience, human senses are reactivated, prompting us to change our behaviors and reconsider the universality of everything as well as our role and position within nature. The bioluminescence of a unicellular marine organism, Noctiluca centellans, commonly known as sea sparkles, appears through the clear glass as the humans cause a mechanical stimuli on the walkway near the rocks or water puddles. The interaction of humans leads the luminescence to produce flashes of light. Noctiluca are large spherical gel-like unicellular organisms about 1 to 2 millimeters in diameter, encased in a thin protective membrane. The chains of algae are strung together with thousands of particles containing fluoroforms and luciferases, substances that carry out bioluminescent reactions by stirring the water with wave action. For activation of the olfactory sense, the audience experiences the smell of petrichor, a scent emitted from the wet soil. The scent comes from plants and bacteria when it rains. This is mainly composed of a chemical geosmin, produced by the bacteria in the soil. In 2015, researchers at MIT recorded high-speed footage of drops falling on the ground. They saw that some of the drops falling on the soil bounced back, forming air bubbles. These microdroplets contained the components of petrichor. The droplets were so small that they formed an aerosol, a suspension of particles in the air. They were then carried on by air currents. The petrichor in them eventually reaches the nose. Inside the space, the audience gets to discern and feel the luminescence and freshness of Ciscostega pinnet, the cave moss, commonly known as goblin's gold, that grows in damp caves. When grown in a dark shades, goblin's gold forms a crystalline layer of cells on its surface. When light strikes these crystalline cells, the curvature focuses the light downwards into the cell, thus concentrating it at the bottom tip. When the refracted light mixes with the green light not absorbed by the chloroplast, it reflects back to the environment, causing the entire periplasmic pad to fluoresce green when viewed in the correct manner. The audience undergoes the feeling of daylight falling on their skin through the glow of an artificial sun when they are seated on the rocks or passing by. Grid-eye is a commonly used infrared sensor which measures actual temperature and its gradients, providing thermal images. The visitors, even in a closed capacity, get to encounter the warmth of the rays that diffuse from the frosted glass panels above. Moving further into the exhibit, the visitors capture a glimpse of the body of architecture placed in the other room called Human Nature, an illuminated room with an indigenous and immersive sculpture situated at the core. The intent is to reflect new cultures, to figure ourselves as an image of more than just human, looking beyond the modern anthropocentric industrial frameworks and creating a potential interface between the human body and other species, showcasing a new ethical relationship, a new perspective of the living world. To make the experience more enticing, we trigger the auditory sense. The audio is an amalgamation of sounds retrieved from humans and nature, conveying the mystery of the intertwined relationship, how nature intends to make us feel at times, when we are lost and we are just left with the sounds coming from within. We perceive nature which is familiar but unexpected at the same time, silent on the surface while groaning underneath. Let's steer through this organic and whimsical space and influence a new area of interspecies collaboration towards protecting the environment and thus ourselves.